1 April, this day 70 years ago, this Naval Air Station was established, and aren't we privileged to be a part of it? Today is the kickoff for what is going to be a string of acknowledgments throughout the year. There is no place like this. This place is magical. I was just down in Norfolk last week, and I talked to people about what gets done here, and they are truly amazed. And I don't think everyone across the Department of Defense, the aerospace organizations of the world, and the Department of the Navy realize how magical it is. It's magical because it's different.
70 years ago, it was 80 degrees here on this April 1st day when we stood up this fine station. It's the sound of freedom. Jay brought me up here in the late 60s as we were both in high school, and I had just a wonderful time. There weren't that many places then where a 15-year-old could drink whiskey and play slot machines, and I'd like to go on record as having thoroughly enjoyed it. My other early memory of Patuxent River, one that has borne home to me the history, was taking off on my first flight out of test pilot school, turning out over the Patuxent River and looking down and seeing a dozen skipjacks, sails on, dredging for oysters, and knew then that it was a sight that I would never see again, but one that's very important. The Patuxent River has been important to our Navy, and it's important to our nation. It's a story of innovation, of daring, of risk, of sacrifice, and perhaps more than anything else, a story of professionalism. It's also part of exploration. Shepherd and Glenn and Carpenter are names that echo through our history. Well, why here? Why was Pax River picked? A Navy panel, probably of retired flag officers called out of duty, as occasionally happens in our business, looked around the entire nation and selected Cedar Point. It was, in the records you will read, a remote location, one that was far from aircraft travel and density, and one that was large enough for weapons testing, and I love this, isolated enough for classified work. Construction began early in 1942, and it changed St. Mary's County forever. It was farmland. Tobacco was the cash crop. There are wonderful old pictures of hogsheads of tobacco being rolled onto paddle wheelers to find their way to market. It was also a place of watermen. What followed could best be described as a Wild West boomtown. There are many stories that I heard when I got here in the late 70s about those days of construction, but just visualize as many as 6,000 workers coming into Jarboville and to Cedar Point. Jarboville was the prior name for the little town of Lexington Park, just outside the gate. We've been blessed. The population in the 2010 census, over 100,000 people. An unemployment rate that's half of the nation's average, and that peaked up only 1.5% or so, even during the depth of the Great Recession. It's both good and bad that we have this stability, because in many ways, we're a one-company town. And this wonderful stability that it brought us in the past is always a little bit like owning only one stock in your portfolio. I feel very, very strongly that it is a time and a necessity for the county to diversify.